Hi everybody, this is Justin Elliott with Elliott's Estate Sales, and this is going to be segment 2 of an 8-part segment, and a series rather, of estate sale bizarre stories, and doing this for over 10 years. And so I'll go ahead and get started. This particular segment is called Knife Over a Dryer, and it is about an estate sale and that took place in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And it was two really nice sisters, I believe, if I can remember correctly. I don't remember having any problems with the family. I think they may have been a little bit disappointed in what the estate sale brought. But we ran the estate sale just as well as we could, and we set up everything and displayed it as well as we could, just like we do every estate sale. And sometimes every now and then you'll get an estate sale that the seller is just unhappy regardless, what you bring them. And it's our intention to bring the most amount of money in for everything, and so sometimes that doesn't happen. But that being said, that is not what this particular episode or segment is about. So we ran the estate sale, we set up everything, and it was pretty much just average, normal, Guthrie type stuff, early 70s and 80s type stuff. Nothing spectacular, nothing specifically sought after. It was just a pretty clean home that had been lived in for about 20 or 30 years, and they built the house in the 80s, and when they did, they bought all new stuff. So we ran the estate sale as normal. I want to say the estate sale ran maybe $5,000 to $6,000, something around in there. And the house, showed really well. But we did the estate sale, and there was some stuff left. And we're going to close, and this is about 30 minutes before we're going to close on Sunday. And it was probably a 9 to 2 sale, or maybe a 10 to 2 sale, something like that. And here we are, at 1:30 p.m., and we're starting to close and kind of look at the merchandise that's available still, and report back to our seller as to what's going to be available and for them to fetch after the estate sale. And perhaps they want us to clean it out, or maybe they're going to have other things to do with the particular leftovers, because when we do the estate sale, that's what we normally do, is just report back to the seller as to what's left and what would you like us to do next. So we go through and do that, and then I'm loading all my tables up and stuff like that, and I've got my team in there. And this particular estate sale, I did not have a sheriff. My sheriff could not make it to the estate sale for some reason. I can't remember why they weren't there, because I do generally always have a member of law enforcement at my estate sales, in case there's any issues that happen, and you never know what can happen. So that being said, we're literally at closing, and I'm loading up my tables, and I have a lady approach me, and she says, "Look, I saw that you haven't sold your dryer." And it was the only dryer available. There was a washer sold, the dryer was available. It was about 10 years old or so, and I think I had it marked $125. So it would have been 60-something dollars plus tax. And she said, of course, they'll buy it. And before, I actually said, are you sure that you can get it out? Because that's always my question. People always want the biggest, largest thing in the entire house, and they say, how much? And, if I said $100 or I said $1, if we can agree on a price, that's great. And my intentions are, how are you going to be able to get it out of the home? Because that's what I'm contractually obligated for you to do, is for you to lift, load, and carry it out off the premises. And when are you going to be able to do it? Who's going to do it? Because, in my opinion, generally, most of the folks that come up to me and say, how much is this? They look like me. I'm 5'7", I weigh 130 pounds, and, I could definitely lift that out. But that's what I do for a living, is move and stage furniture to make it most marketable for an estate sale. And I've moved many, many times, so I know how to move furniture, and without hurting anything or anyone, and, without breaking the door down trying to get it out. And a dryer can be a problem sometimes, in my experience. So I asked her. She said that it wouldn't be a problem, that she was calling her son, and she's literally on the phone while she's telling me this. And I said, as long as there's not going to be any problems, and you guys are here, and it is out by 2 o'clock, then we will be able to do that. And so we took her money, and I continued loading. Well, 1:40 came, and she's freaking out and circling in the, the front yard, and I'm thinking, oh Lord, here we go. This is going to be a problem. These are the reasons why I generally will try to sell out, or I will normally close at, the closing time. And if we have a clear house, 5 minutes before, I'm going to shut that door, and it makes a lot of people unhappy. But, I've seen it. I know it's there, and I know how long it's going to take someone as a reseller to go through and look at a house. There's no way that you can get through a 2,000 square foot house in 5 minutes and then me be able to get you to get out by the closing time. And so, all of our sales are based off of numbers, okay? And so we only have a certain amount of labor time. We only have a certain amount of time that we can be at an estate sale, or else it's just not profitable for us or the estate sale. The person that's having the estate seller, the actual estate sale themselves. So, it's something that buyers don't care about. And so, when you're going to an estate sale, you have to be, educated to realize how an estate sale works, or else it's not profitable to have an estate sale. So that being said, we normally have everybody out by 4:02 or before closing time, because people understand they don't want to show up, 2 seconds before they're going to close. It's respectful, okay? But this particular instance became a really big problem. 2 o'clock passed. She's freaking out. I'm giving her her money back, okay, at this time. And it was probably like 2:15, maybe 2:10, something like that. All of my people that are working with me that are at the estate sale, we've taken our aprons off, we've packed our stuff up, we're ready to leave. We've been working, the sale for 4 or 5 hours, and we're all hungry and we'd like to leave. So we're fixing to leave, and here comes her son. And her son worked in the landscaping industry in Guthrie, Oklahoma, or somewhere around in the parts. And so he had to drive from wherever he was to come and pick up this dryer for his mother. And you could tell that both of them were, bickering between each other, because, you've got your mother on one line, pressuring you to get your butt here now because the estate liquidator is fixing to close. Well, she had called him and told him that I had already given her a refund. And he didn't care. He was still on the way, and he actually took out all of his anger out on me, because I was suddenly the problem in his life. So takes the entire thing out on me, screams and yells at me. I have one of my ladies that works for me, another lady that works for me behind me, and of course, me being the business owner, I feel responsible for my 2, ladies. Both of them are older than me, and I automatically feel like an over sense of a responsibility in this particular situation, because I've got to protect my staff, right? And I've got a screaming man approaching me. And he's much taller than me and really short-framed. And, I could tell that he's coming at me in a manner where there's going to be a problem. And generally when I'm at an estate sale, I am carrying. And in Oklahoma, it is legal to carry, and open carry and conceal. I have a conceal permit. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's not going to take much for me to be able to protect myself. So at this point, he's like 4 foot in front of me, just coming after me and screaming and yelling, you pissed me off, this, that, and the other, you wasted my mom's time, I drove all the way from so and such. And at this point, I'm just ready to leave, but I can't leave the house and the estate sale with this crazy person trying to come in here. He could probably break into the house. We have to have this footage of this stuff. And I do have camera video footage of this. All of this happened, but I don't feel as though that it's necessary at this time without actually, pressing charges on this gentleman for, the interaction between us, coming into the altercation that we did. So he's continually approaching me, right? Well, I put my hand on my gun, okay? And, I was always taught by my instructor, for gun handling and, shooting expertise, that you don't take that gun out unless you plan to shoot someone, period. And there are no ifs, ands, or buts. And, I'm not a murderer. I don't want to kill anybody. Just the thought of, a cow being murdered so that I could eat a really good, tasty hamburger makes me emotional. So I'm thinking about that in the back of my head, but I'm also thinking about my ladies and protecting my estate sale. And, I'm here just defenseless. And I've got this gentleman that's taller than me here with his mother. And his mother is begging him to stop and to back off of me and to stop. And he literally draws a knife above his head. Knife is probably, about this long. It looked like a fish fillet knife, like a fillet knife for fishing, in a leather holster, pulls that out and literally has it over his head. And I'm like, okay, well, he's either going to slash me or he's not. Do you have the balls to do it? Because he just didn't seem like the type that would. And me, I really don't back down from a lot of things. A lot of folks will try to come in and they'll kind of try to, get aggressive with me. And, I treat people as though that they treat me. I don't treat anybody with any kind of malice, intentional malice, or any kind of malice, just meeting people. I'm generally a friendly, nice going person. But that being said, literally, this dude doesn't know me. He's got his mom, calling and crazing, griping him out. And so here he comes. I've got two witnesses. He's got his, thing out, or his knife out, and his mother is begging him to put it out. And I was waiting for him to attack me, because if he did attack me, I would have immediately shot him. But that did not happen, and for whatever reason, he ended up backing off. And I think that at this point I have my phone out and I am, recording it, because at the time we were wearing all body cams. So we have body cams. I have a body camera of, my state cell manager and then my other lady that was helping me. So we have 3 different angles of body cams, and I have my phone going out on them. Well, once I pull my phone out, I think that maybe scared him. And so he starts hauling butt back to his car, and he's driving a white Ford pickup. It was a landscape vehicle with a trailer, and you could tell that they had been doing some kind of lawn service. Well, in the middle of all this, I'm thinking, okay, well, we're gonna call Guthrie Police. The lady behind me on my left shoulder is literally calling the police at this time, talking to Guthrie Police, letting them know what's going on, that, somebody's attacking, me and, them, and we're at a local estate sale, right? Well, before the police department can come over there, he has already left. And before he left, he told me that, basically he knew the captain of the police department, and they weren't going to come over there and they wouldn't do anything to him. So we could just forget about being able to press charges. Now, I got pictures of the tag, I have pictures of him, I got pictures of the car, and I have 2 witnesses stating that this particular individual literally drew a weapon at me and was ready to strike me, or maybe the 2 people with me, in front of his mother. But I turned all this into the Guthrie, Oklahoma Police Department. Absolutely nothing was done. They didn't contact me at all. So, and this, it's just, one way to realize, what goes on in the state and sale industry. You're dealing with the general public. People are on the edge. People are, they want a good deal. And, stuff happens at an estate sale. So it can be really fun. So I will see you in the next segment, and I appreciate you watching.